Welcome to the Cow Underground secret bonus episode. Dropping at you on the main feed. I am here with two men, two very popular men in the Cow universe. Two men you know who have been at each other's throats on the Facebook group. And I said, let's bring it to the pod. Let's bring it to the pod. Let's get off the internet if you're in the Comedians Wrestling Facebook group. Remember, this podcast, this is on the main feed. This is brought to you by the Patreon. I mean, this is spicy bonus content I'm giving you for free. Patreon.com/Comedians Wrestling. Sign up, get some bonus episodes. Also, this will be coming out on Sunday when this drops. We'll be having the Cow Zoom Thunderdome.
Wow. Oh, boy.
We're going to be hanging out, watching Hell in a Cell with the patrons. It's going to be very fun. And, all right, let's introduce my two guests for this episode. The first guy, you know this guy. He's always on the bonus episodes. He's the Super Mark, Mr. Nick Tullo. What's up?
I'm just admiring my fucking mustache right now. I mean, it is insane. It's on another level. Look how beautiful it is.
It looks great. I see you.
Wow.
And this guy.
Look at this hoodie too.
I love that hoodie. That's really cool. It's like AJ Styles. You'll see it in the Zoom video. It's on our YouTube page. It's like the Jumpman Michael Jordan, but it's AJ giving the phenomenal forearm. That actually is a really cool sweatshirt. I actually really like that. I actually might get that. Can I get that? Where did you get that?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I think I just stumbled upon it. I think Santa Claus got it for me.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds like a very shady way you got it. And anyway,
is that a bit of bootleg merch, or is that legit merch?
No, I think it's bootleg, but it's,
I mean, is it from PWT?
I don't think so. I don't remember where I got it from, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, it looks great. It looks great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate
the next guest here, he already did a surprise intro.
Sierra Hotel, Echo, Bravo, India, Romeo, Oscar, Shebiro. You're a winner. Welcome to the Space Olympics, the year 3022.
Jason Shebiro in the house. Put the Space Olympics there. Jason Shebiro, Nick Tullo in the house. Two men who are disagreeing about pro wrestling. And I feel like let's bring it here. We have no agenda. We're just.
I'm gonna have to cut you. I'm gonna cut you off right there. Sorry, I gotta cut you off. That's not what I was brought onto the show to do.
Yeah.
This is a misrepresentation of why I was summoned and why I was tapped. And I will not be bamboozled by my own best friend like this. Okay.
It should be. You see what I have to deal with now, like all the time.
Buddy, I've been dealing with this for fucking my whole life. I don't even want to get into it.
Voices in my head.
No. All right, let's bring it down. I was brought
okay,
to the
so
show.
you're saying that let's you were brought to the show. You last night I was on Facebook. You two guys were going at each other about Bailey back and forth. And so I go, yo, let's record this, save it for the pod, and that's how this started. And you're acting like this has not happened.
That's not how it started.
I'm pitting you guys against each other for the ratings bump.
First of all, I think you are pitting us. I think you know one thing. You know that Tullo brings such a mark energy that it's good to have a little bit of that positive. Tullo has what I call ultimate positivity for wrestling. So that you are now, it's like how Howard Stern had Robin Givens, right? So he could say whatever fucked up shit he wants because look, there's a black woman here, so I can't be wrong. I'm not racist. I'm not a misogynist because I have a person.
You mean Robin Quivers?
Who'd I say?
Givens.
Givens.
Mike Tyson's ex-wife?
Yeah, that's not what he meant to say.
Whoops. No, but anyway, so I think you
Robin Ophelia Quivers.
Right. Sorry. I honestly, I actually make the mistake all the time. I always confuse Givens with Quivers. They're similar surnames, let's be honest.
For you.
But Nick Tullo is a super mark, and some would actually say he's the markitect. And so you can have critical point of views of some of what's going on in wrestling because you have Tullo there to sort of balance it out and make sure, hey, we all know that we all still love wrestling, right? You're sort of giving people a little bit of a stunt. What's that shit called when they take a big bump off a cage, but they're not mankind, so they need like a fucking pillow that disguises a box? What's that called?
Airbag?
Yeah, but is that like the jargon?
There's a term for that. It's just like a pad.
Well, we need to get a real wrestling insider on this pod for once to get the term. But that airbag, Tullo is your airbag, okay? So you're giving yourself the safety net. Me, When you do a pod with me, it's like Mankind, Mick Foley, Hell in a Cell, Undertaker. We don't want a fucking airbag. We don't need an airbag. I'm coming in with hot takes. You're coming in with hot takes. And we trust that the people are going to be able to handle it. Okay? So I wasn't brought on the pod to disagree with Nick Tullo. Me and Tullo disagree all the time. It's fine. He's an ultimate mark, ultimate positivity. What I give you guys, what I offer to the listenership is the truth. I offer you guys the correct and true opinions. I offer you guys
all right, so listen,
critical thinking that only someone with a proven SAT score 1510 can bring.
I have 400.
Out of 1600. Critical thinking on a level.
Respond to this.
Critical thinking that wrestling fans can only dream of. My intellect is superior.
Okay,
my takes
Shebs,
are
you're out of
correct.
time.
Moderator, 2 minutes. I mean,
wow. I mean, you're attacking the moderator. First off, I'm not here to pit you guys against each other at all. Okay, it's not the goal. Let me just quickly lower the cage. Okay.
It's a cage of sound. It's a music cage.
Okay, so here's the deal. I mean, Tullo, did you want to respond? I feel like I have to respond. I think I was more under attack there. Which is that I didn't bring you on here to fight. I brought the conversation over from the Facebook group here. So let's get into the topic. Look, and I don't have any plan here. This was just like full, let's bring the convo over. You guys were talking about Bailey. That's where you guys were at. Jason, first off, for the folks, let everybody know, are you caught up with pro wrestling? You've been gone for a little bit. Let the people know. Are you...
I can report honestly and truly that I'm 100% caught up on wrestling. I've watched everything worth watching. And I had to do it in record time. I was going through some personal life stuff, and I wasn't able to watch as much wrestling as I wanted to. But now I've watched more wrestling than I'd ever need to. So I'm up on every single thing. Right now, as of recording time of this pod, the only thing that I watched half-assedly was I rushed through the most recent SmackDown and really just watched the ending. But I've watched everything. Here's what I'm taking issue with, Dan.
Yeah.
You're saying, oh, you brought me and Tullo onto the pod because we had a Bailey conversation. No, that is not correct. I mean, what has happened is
we're going to argue about the thesis of this podcast the whole time?
I'm actually pretty mad. Honestly, I'm upset that is what the episode is being billed as, because that's not the billing. That's not the booking. The booking of this episode is, this is my triumphant return to wrestling fandom. I've taken my breather. I'm back in. And what's more, we are coming off of a draft. All right?
Yeah.
Some superstars got drafted to SmackDown. Some superstars got drafted to Raw. Jason Shebiro, was drafted back to the Comedians of Wrestling podcast by Dan Black. And this is what was happening. I wouldn't just join the pod if I was still unaffiliated or in the developmental territories or potentially going to a rival podcast. I've gotten offers from AEW. I've gotten offers from, Between the Bells or whatever the fuck, Cody, what's his name? Corey Graves' podcast. They want me on all these pods. But Dan Black.
Between two bells?
Between two bells. Dan Black, my best friend, had a first-round draft pick in conjunction with the WWE draft, and you drafted me to Comedians of Wrestling. I have no choice in the matter. So I'm here because I've been drafted back to the show. I didn't come here to fight with Tullo. Me and Tullo might get into an angle together. We might get some booking, but that's not what the pod is about.
All right, so you're breaking kayfabe. I got it. So here's the deal. Let's just talk about the current state of professional wrestling right now, which I personally believe to be strong. I think wrestling is very fun right now. I think that they found their pandemic footing. But let's get into this Bailey thing, because Bailey was ranked PWI #1 female wrestler. Tullo is very hot on Bailey right now, and Shebs is not sold on Bailey. Shebs, Tullo, I'll go to you first, because we've heard enough from Shebs already somehow. And where are you at on what are you feeling about Bailey? You think she deserved that PWI #1 ranking? And or is it just because did she just get it just because she's had the title for 500 days, so that you kind of have to give it to her? Or are you really enjoying her work?
Well, as we talked about before, the PWI rankings involve record and wins and, how successful you're doing as a wrestler.
There's a high kayfabe element to the whole thing.
Right. So they're honestly, in the last year, which has been the last full calendar year, Bailey's been champion. So, I mean, immediately she's the top women's wrestler just for that sole reason. If you just go across all the women's wrestlers in the industry, there's undeniably no doubting it that she's the best women's wrestler. When it comes to her character and who she is as a wrestler, that's where the debate could be. Well, is she 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Is she top 5? Is she not even in your top 5? To me personally, with the pandemic, Charlotte being out, Becky being out, with the women's division in WWE as strong as it is, if you look at the champions, I mean, it's clear Bayley's the reason why they're doing so good, in my opinion. I think she found her groove as a heel. I think she's killed it as a heel. I think her gimmick makes sense now. I think she had her partner in.
Yeah, what's her gimmick exactly?
She's a role model.
Because to me, I think I think Bayley's gimmick is I have a different haircut now.
Well, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I just think overall as a heel, I think she's is anybody doing a better work as a heel?
Yes, every other female heel wrestler. I think living. I think everyone from fucking what's her name? Britt Baker to whatever
Is she though?
Oh yes, and she's way better than Bayley as a heel. I mean, come on, get out of here.
Britt Baker's probably my number one female wrestler. Right
now.
She's had one match in like 6
so
months.
what?
She doesn't wrestle.
So what? So what? Alexa Bliss, I think, is more captivating in this Fiend duo.
Oh,
as a heel.
No denying that. There's no denying that. Listen,
wait. Time out. So there's no denying that these people are doing better work than Bayley, and yet your thesis was that no one is doing better work than Bayley.
No, that's all right. Let's chill with the thesis words here, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is not a thesis in my papers that I had research to do. But I'm saying there's no denying that Alexa Bliss is doing great work. I just think overall, the whole entire stretch, consistently, Bayley has evolved and has put the WWE roster kind of on her back and put it on the map.
Can we break it down just simply though? Like Shebs, I'll go to you right now, but I'm saying like. Bayley, has she had any great promos in the past year?
Probably nothing that stood out like memorable ones, but I mean, even to make that case for a lot of people is kind of tough. I mean, there's only a handful of great promos that you're going to remember.
What we're not trying to determine is Bayley the champion and doing pretty good as a heel compared to the absolute abysmal, captivating levels, charisma levels that she's had in the past. Yes, she's better, but is she good? I don't think so. Is she champion? Sure. Are there that many other people that could be champion instead? Not really. I think the women's division has actually suffered tremendously in the pandemic, with Becky being gone, with Charlotte being gone. Is she okay? Sure. Is it better than it used to be? Yeah. Is it good? I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what, every time I see Bayley on screen, I fast forward. And when I don't and watch the segment, whether it be a match or a promo, I go, yeah, what was I thinking? What is wrong? I'm wasting my life right here. I'd rather watch almost any other segment on the show than the Bayley segment. And I go back and I watch them here and there, but it's still not good. The thing is this, Tullo. Here's where you're struggling. Here's your difficulty. And here's a difficulty that I don't have. Is that for you, if everything is good, this is good and this is good and this is working and that's pretty good. And that got better and this is really good. I'm saying if everything is good, it's hard to tell in your brain the difference between what you really love and what you are kind of wanting yourself to love so that you could remain positive and marky.
You didn't like any of the stuff that she did with Sasha this whole entire run? I mean, from beating the absolute shit out of her, from attacking her backstage, from now carrying the chair around, from now they're going to have a Hell in a Cell match.
I mean, look, this is all
none of that is a good product.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Swap out Bayley for any other, like, quote unquote top female wrestler, and I guarantee you it would just be a better, more fun program. Now, Bayley and Sasha have this long built-in history, so there's some good booking there. Look, some moments are going to be entertaining, but like Bayley's not the reason it's working, right? The booking is why it's working. Best friends, super good guy turned to the big heel, now she's betraying her friend. They were, pitted against each other. Like, the booking is pretty good for Bayley booking, but it's not anything groundbreaking. It's not like again, not to bring up the Alexa too much, but what The Fiend is doing, right? The Fiend is coming out there. He's giving you something you've never seen in your life, that no one's ever done, that's mind-blowingly fucking awesome. And to me, that's what I'm searching for. I'm right. Looking for A+ wrestling. And I have very little patience for B-, for C+, for C-. And so something could be out of Bayley a C+ or a B-. And that's great because for years she gave me fucking D to F. So yeah, it's better and it's cool. But wrestling, there's so much of it, and it's so tedious, and it's so monotonous, and it's so similar that if you're just going to give me, yeah, this is a little better, I don't care. And in fact, then I get angry when everyone else, marks like yourself and internet fuckfaces, need to celebrate shit that is just like really not worth celebrating. Like it's not cause for a parade.
I mean, she comes out and she raises the title on the top of the stage, and she's got pyro,
right.
and she looks awesome.
Let me stop you right there. She doesn't look awesome. She doesn't look awesome. Well, let me tell you who looks awesome. Let me tell you who looks awesome. Hold on.
I just want to interrupt for 1 second and say I think she does look awesome.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
I actually think she's in great shape. I think the haircut looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a great haircut.
SmackDown during that contract signing was really cool, except I don't know why she's wearing like little slip-on Steve Madden shoes.
Dude,
I don't know why.
Look, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what. Look. You're talking about a heel turn.
I gave Drew McIntyre that criticism as well. Wrestlers, you got to wear a shoe that looks like it's gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah. You're talking about a heel turn. You're talking about someone looking awesome. You're talking about someone holding the belt and just looking like the top guy with this big character. Look at Roman Reigns. Compare Bayley to Roman Reigns. Don't compare Bayley to fucking the woman's right. Don't compare her to Lacey fucking Sinclair, whatever the goddamn fucking name is. Compare her to someone who's in her position. Bayley is a longest running female champion. She's the top talent. You, in your words, is carrying the division on her back. Compare her to the other people doing that. That would be Roman Reigns. Is what she's doing on the level of work as what Roman Reigns is doing right now? I would say it's not even fucking close. They're not even in the same country. Like Roman Reigns is doing A+ once in a lifetime amazing work right now. That's what I want out of Bayley. And she's not giving me that. She's giving me, oh, I don't want to blow my fucking brains out when she's on television anymore. I guess that's good. No.
Can I say something about
you
Bayley?
Can't. I gotta crack my drink.
All right, Shebs has to crack his drink.
Is a fucking kombucha?
Watermelon kombucha GT's Living Foods.
It's disgusting. All right. So
Aaron was asking about.
Here's the thing: is that Tullo, what flavor?
The light that.
Again, the lack of flavor. So listen, folks. Here's the thing about Bayley that I think is, to hear what you're both saying, how I'm processing this, is that, like, I'm definitely into the Sasha Bayley story. Totally. I think it's cool. I specifically love the whole thing of Sasha can't retain the title. That's, like, great, cool wrestling writing. That's something that, like, that's what makes wrestling better than sports to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always about winning. It's about sometimes losing makes your characters really interesting, you know? And there's, like, that hero's journey that's incredible, you know? But the thing about Bayley is that, like, I do think she looks good, and I'll believe her as being that dominant champion. The thing is that if she's going to be this kind of generic character, right? Like, she decided to be like she was like a hugger. She had, like, kind of a bigger gimmick, and she was a kind of a mark. That was a kind of her gimmick. And then she went to, like, oh, I'm throwing that away just to be, like, a badass wrestler. I feel like she needs to have, like, way more memorable matches and, like, and better viciousness, you know, or so.
I agree, especially
with the promo. But, like, matches, like, even a move, like, even a devastating move.
So you don't like the regular level move of the belly to belly suplex as a finisher?
And she does a macho elbow, which doesn't really fit the character.
I mean,
either.
Also just like such a nonsense finisher.
Right. So it's kind of like, I feel like if they're going for the fact that, like, Bayley is a superior wrestler, like, it works with Asuka in that way. Like, I know, like, Asuka, I believe Asuka has that kind of ability in ring. Bayley has not had a moment in ring where I'm like, I believe she could beat everybody with just her pure talent.
I mean, case in point, Roman Reigns on SmackDown just submitted Braun Strowman with a guillotine choke, a move that Roman Reigns has never done before, right?
That's why I was trying to tell you guys to watch the end because of how fucking awesome that was.
Okay.
And here's the best part about it. You know why? fucking the match coming up is an I Quit match. We've never seen Roman use a submission before. So what was he gonna do? Just beat him until he has to quit? No, he's gonna fucking give us a guillotine right before that match. Oh shit, Roman's got a fucking submission now that took out the biggest fucking dude in the business. You know
exactly.
Roman is killing it. Roman's
killing it. And so
to
Dan's point. And again, Tullo, this is what separates. This is what separates. This is why it's easy for me as the supreme detective, as the street whisperer, as the guy who just knows what's going on, as the kink master. What I'm saying is, it's this between the lines, that extra something, right? So Roman Reigns, character change, gimmick shift. Now he's got a vicious submission finisher. Bayley, same type of energy going on. Where's that vicious new finisher? Where's her submission? If she beat the shit out of Sasha and then put her in that same guillotine choke, oh my God, we would be saying a little bit more. There'd be more there.
She put her fucking head in she put her head in a goddamn chair.
Tullo, can you just show me
that was cool. Can
you do me the respect? Do you understand the point I'm making, though?
I 100% understand your point. Of course I understand your point. Of course I understand your shit. 1,000% Shebs, understand your point. But I think also her body of work over the course of the year, it's been consistent, evolved. She looks like a dominant champion now. When she comes out, she looks like the champ. She's proven different ways that she can stay a champ, whether it's a shit-eating contest heel. Yeah. You know, like whatever she's had to do, she's done it and evolved.
I feel like right now she is coasting on the power of booking, which is extremely powerful.
Here we go. Here it is. You guys are asking for a moment. This Hell in a Cell match is going to be that moment.
Oh, time out. You can't say you guys are asking for a moment. Hey, it's in a couple weeks.
I'm just saying.
Bayley's been doing so good, you guys. Bayley's been crushing it. Let me show you some tape. Wait, I don't have any yet.
If you want something, and I agree with you, if I'm agreeing with your side, I'm saying, well, this should be it. Like this Hell in a Cell should be her memorable moment.
It should
be that match, whether she retains or whether she fucking loses.
If I know Bayley, I think it's not going to be her memorable moment. Because I don't think she really delivers.
Can we compare maybe I'm thinking about Drew and Bayley for a second.
Sure.
I don't know why we're going to it. Because I guess I have to get this out there. I think Drew's title run is working.
It is working. It is working. I
don't think it's incredible, but it is also the pandemic special. It is definitely he was the champion through the whole Performance Center run, of wrestling. So now he's in the Thunderdome at the tail end of probably his run. And so, but he's done a lot of work to get that Claymore over, right? I popped for the Claymore, not like a stunner, obviously, but
no, it's a big move. It's a huge move. And look, and I'm not a strike finish guy per se, and that is a strike finisher that is absolutely A+ in my book.
A+.
That's a top move. I mean, look, how about that ambulance match with Randy Orton? How about the greatest wrestling? Oh, well, I mean, Orton just had Orton was doing so good. How about the match where he out wrestled Orton? Drew McIntyre.
I have a hot thing because we're going to
a lot to say.
Hold on, I'll go back.
Honestly, I need to move back.
I would give Bayley a pedigree. Is that crazy?
That'd be great. Look, you need to give her anything else, man.
Bayley with a pedigree would be
it's a good finisher.
People the pedigree.
It'd be great, but to do a pedigree, you need to get knighted by Triple H. But why can't he come in and give her?
She is knighted by Triple H.
No, but I'm saying it needs to be an on-screen. He needs to say that she's something or X, or invoke NXT and how he bequeathed her with something at NXT. He knew she'd be the girl. Whatever it is, I'm just saying I love a pedigree for her. I love any legitimate finishing move for her. She has 0 of them.
Well,
she has.
I just want to focus on this before we move on to Drew, because I'm saying the role model thing is nothing. It's just
Britt Baker does the same thing 20 times better on another show with a pun. Bayley being the role model,
is so good.
It's an added pun. She is a better role model. She lives that gimmick better. She has that I suck, but I'm telling you that I know it's better than you. Plus, there's also a pun of being in a wheelchair. It's so much outworking Bayley that it makes Bayley look silly, and I feel silly even having a conversation on whether or not Bayley's a good wrestler right now.
I'll tell you, I can actually tell you where you're wrong in that, because if Britt Baker was doing anything that was relevant, which I think her work is great, then the AEW's women division would be good, and it's not.
I think
The WWE's women's division
WWE's
is good.
I don't
Bayley's
think
doing
WWE's
good
women's division is good. I think WWE's
Yeah, well,
women's division
you're
is in
wrong.
fucking
Well,
shambles.
WWE's
think,
women's division is good when Charlotte and Becky are there.
And
And
Ronda.
Ronda.
And when Nia's in the
been
mix.
entertaining.
And
Asuka,
also the
all stuff with
NXT
Asuka's
women's
been
division
good.
is sick. If you brought them all up, you'd have a great.
So I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, also you get Bianca Belair being drafted.
Yeah,
you know,
I
that's
cannot
great.
wait.
That's great.
Did you see her package this week?
She's so underutilized. It's
I didn't
insane.
look. I look. I got to tell you guys. I like Bianca Belair. I think she's a great wrestler with an enormously bright future ahead of her. I don't like her ponytail, and I get a lot of flack for that. I've even been called racist for not liking long ponytails. I'll live with that. I can absorb that.
Someone called you
accusation.
racist for not liking the ponytail?
Because they said you can't criticize a woman of color's hair. Do you know the storied history of oppression? I was like, look, I don't want to get into it. Again, I got a 1510. I know a lot of stuff. One thing I do know is any ponytail.
1600, everyone. Remember.
Any ponytail. I mean, we're talking 99th percentile on earth intellect. Any ponytail that is longer than 3 feet tall, whether it be on a white man or a Filipino
wrestler,
trans woman, I don't like super long ponytails. If it's segmented, even grosser. And Dan, you've known since high school, and we made a whole movie about how long ponytails are disgusting. So look, I'm just saying I don't dig the hairstyle.
I love Bianca Belair's ponytail.
That's fine.
I love the hair whip, and on that specifically, it was so fucking awesome at that Royal Rumble match when she used it to eliminate, I think, Alexa. Maybe I don't remember. That was. Great.
I don't like Willow Smith, and I don't like whipping hair back and forth. Okay, here's what we need to say. This is why I invoke Bianca Belair. All right, and I want to talk about Sasha too, and I want to talk about Britt Baker. Here's the big difference. Okay. I'm going to call it swag. I'm going to call it just that the personality. When Sasha Banks walked down to that segment with Bayley, Sasha looked like $10 million. She looked incredible.
I said she raised the bar. She's at 5.
No, but look, you're talking about wrestling matches. Fucking put your match in your pocket. No match necessary. Sasha entered, walked out, looked like a fucking $1 million. She looked like a complete G. She looked like a certified G and a bona fide stud. She looked gangster as hell. She looked incredible.
She's been doing that.
It was awesome. The outfit, the swagger, the confidence, the badassery. She looked sexy as hell. It worked.
It's her time.
She has something as a performer, as a presence with automatic charisma. Now, I don't necessarily love where Sasha's at in general, but that moment, her just walking out and being her and fucking living in that energy is something that Bayley doesn't have that, is what I'm saying, okay? You could change her hair and you could gussy her up and you could make her do this and make her do that. Bianca Belair's got swag for days.
I agree.
Britt Baker's got swag. Sasha really, honestly, I turned on that TV. I saw Sasha and I was like,
incredible.
Oh my God. I felt something. It wasn't like I was in love, but I felt like moved.
No, Sasha Banks is like, I'm not even shocked that they cast her in Mandalorian. Like, she has a great look. She has an awesome presence. Her gear is always fire.
Now I'm saying that is mega. That is so important when you're talking about what a wrestler is capable of. And what I'm telling you is that Bayley really doesn't have that.
$1 million.
Bayley is actually a huge dork. Well, you know, she was a dork with the side pony. Now she's a dork pretending she's a tough guy. But you could tell she's like a little awkward, a little uncomfortable, a little dorky, a little out of her element, a little trying. I'm bad girl. You know, it just doesn't feel right, whether that's bad acting or just not having the charisma or the chops. What
flavor is that?
Lime, duh. I feel like there's a clarity of Bayley's gimmick that I don't get where there's a complete clarity in what Sasha is, and I feel like she's too busy pretending to be a Eddie Guerrero mark all the time, where I'm like, yo, Sasha, you look like a mill. The legit boss gimmick is so good. Let me see you be a fucking boss. Like,
I agree.
I think she's always almost there. She has the potential to be like in my mind, like a huge crossover star. You know?
I think she might be taking that title at Hell in a Cell.
I hope so.
And I think that she really showed up on SmackDown. But again, gimmick aside, booking aside, you're talking about, hey, her boss gimmick is so defined and yet she doesn't really lean into it. I agree. But I'm putting all that shit on the back burner. I'm strictly talking about natural animal magnetism, natural charisma. You know, just that thing that just makes someone watchable and fucking cool. She just looked cool. And Bayley
Yeah.
has never actually embodied that. Like, if you look at a still picture of Bayley, she looks cooler. When she's walking and talking and moving and being and flowing, you're like, that chick fucking sucks.
Bayley wore that like Cleopatra thing, which I thought looked really cool. She just then started calling herself a role model. It's all over the place, in my opinion. But Shebs, I do want to speak to one specific point here, and I think this is open a broader conversation.
Is it my SAT score?
It's no. I'm done with your SAT.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Look, here's the deal. I don't want to talk about your SAT score for any more in my life, to be honest. Okay.
It was very high.
But here's the deal. You always like talk about that animal magnetism and whatnot, and I agree with that. There are people who are Jim Carrey of wrestling, right? There are people like I bring up Jim Carrey because he's just like a walking talent machine, right? Like he can do anything, he can move anything. His body is a vessel for like he could like do whatever vision he has, he could do it, pull it off. He could do any voice, any impression. Like he's a machine. Like a Bill Hader's like that too.
That's why I think that's a bad example, because that guy's talented. Find me someone who's not talented but a charisma machine, like a Keanu Reeves, who could do nothing, but like you still want to watch the guy.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But there are people who have that. Like Stone Cold can't do everything, but he still has a fucking presence to Stone Cold. There's a
mega
glow.
charisma. There's
like a glow to him. Okay,
he has an
and
aura.
that's coming from me, I've watched almost all of his shitty movies for this.
Undeniable
podcast, okay?
star quality.
Yeah. To me, something I really enjoy is seeing someone who doesn't have that succeed, which is what Daniel Bryan is. Like, I think there's also people who put in the work and earn it maybe from a less natural talent base. So, like, Daniel Bryan is not 6'4". He doesn't have a particularly, like, interesting look even. But even, like, AJ Styles, right, who's, like, when I was 15 and he was a TNA, I was like, this guy can eat grass.
I think AJ Styles is a really great example, because AJ Styles does not have that thing, but he's probably the most successful guy who he has some charisma. I'm not saying he has no charisma, but he doesn't have like Stone Cold, Rock, Jim Carrey, Keanu Reeves charisma. I think Daniel Bryan might even have more like star quality charisma than AJ Styles. But think about the difference in
I love those talents.
I love them when they are able to
I consider Edge
overcome
to be
it.
one of those talents also.
Who?
Edge is a guy who I thought was a jabron for a long time, and then
I think Edge might be one of those guys. Edge is one of those guys. So that's what I'm saying. Bayley is in that pile, but she ain't no motherfucking Edge, man.
Well,
and
she
ain't
hasn't
no
found the rated R thing, but she's not even trying.
But that's the thing. She doesn't wrestle as good as AJ. She isn't as booked as good as Daniel Bryan, and she sure as hell hasn't fucking found her fucking groove like Edge. Edge found something where Edge tapped in so good to his like real core
You think you know
being.
me?
He tapped in so good that he at times you forget that he doesn't have it.
Edge made you forget that he was kind of like a skinny bitch. Like
Edge made you feel like, I'm watching fucking The Rock right now.
Edge kept getting in trouble for juicing, and you couldn't even tell.
Well, you just have to be like, man, you know what? Let this guy juice. I don't even want to think about what he'd look like without the juice. Be a scarecrow.
Yeah, but Edge was like the worst wrestler for so long, and then just like found it, and is now like one of the greatest.
It's not fair to say he's one of the worst wrestlers. He was just a guy that had to work really, really hard to get over.
He's a classic brass ring grabber.
Right, he's a brass ring grabber. He's a worker. I mean, he is very similar to what Bayley is, but the thing is, look, Bayley's been in the game long enough, and she's been given the opportunities. I just don't think she has. See, Edge was a smart enough performer to find where he needed to go.
I agree. I think the bar is low right now. I think that's what kind of what your beef is with Tullo ultimately. Not that you have any beef, but
yes, my beef with Tullo is that the bar is low.
It's not your fault though, because like someone posted a picture that I saw the day. It was the SmackDown. It was a picture of the SmackDown main event. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it was the main event of a random SmackDown, and it was Rock, Stone Cold, Taker, Kane, Rikishi, and Kurt Angle. Okay, and Triple H as the special guest referee. Woo! That was what SmackDowns were. Like right now, wrestling that level of star quality, it just doesn't even
know,
fucking exist.
I would say that this SmackDown roster is kind of spicy though. When you got Roman, Seth,
Yeah.
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, you got some Street Profits, you got like a spicy little
There's a lot to love.
Seth is so good.
There's a lot to love.
Man.
There's a lot to
Ray
love.
and Dominic.
Dominic, by the way, is already one of Tulo's guys.
I mean,
You
I'm
know
not.
that?
I'm not even going to talk about Dominic right now. I mean, I'm not going to talk about
What are you
Dominic.
talking about? The guy's fucking incredible.
Okay.
All right, Shebiro.
Tulo, let me
Do you
tell you.
remember, do you remember the fucking ass
Let
beating
Tulo
that this
talk,
guy
man.
took? Do you remember the fucking ass beating that
I
this
really,
guy took
I have
from
a
Brock
serious question.
Lesnar?
I have a
Do you
serious question.
remember the ass beating that this guy took from Brock Lesnar?
Yes.
In your wildest years, you can never even imagine what that must be like to just be like, all right, my first bumps as a professional wrestler, I'm going to Suplex City. Can you imagine that? This guy is
Dominic
never...
does have this chance to be like a Shane type. You
There's
know?
something
he does have
cool.
a real nice.
There is something cool about Dominic Mysterio. Okay, I like
at SummerSlam against
buddy.
Seth
I gave
Rollins.
you the courtesy of
You
finishing
barely
your
gave me.
sentence.
You've been talking for a half hour. I said 4 words. I can't even fucking mark out for Dominic Mysterio without being shunned to the fucking. I mean, the guy is incredible.
Let the man mark out for Dominic Mysterio.
I said
look, I can't argue with that.
Do you want to make Aaliyah Mysterio one of your guys quick while you're at it?
No, she needs a little bit more work. But
I like Aaliyah Mysterio better than Rey Mysterio, and definitely better than Dominic Mysterio. I really like. I think Aaliyah Mysterio is great.
Dominic and Ray got drafted together.
Yeah, they were so excited.
Dude, they could. Whoever's pulling this, the drafters couldn't throw in Big E to come with a New Day, but they were able to rig it so that a singles wrestler could bring his kid with him.
You get drafted with your dad. It's like Obamacare. Like he's under 26. You can still be drafted with your father.
Made no sense. Ugh.
He's still claiming him on his tax return. That means you can be drafted together.
Look, Dominic Mysterio, there's a lot to respect there. I mean, there's a lot. Look, the easy cynical take is like,
We're just going right into Dominic.
The easy cynical take is, look, he's not actually that good of a wrestler. He wouldn't be anywhere near. He wouldn't even be sniffing this company if his father wasn't Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Like, we know all that. I don't need to knock him for that. Okay. The fact is, he's showing up. He's taking his fucking bumps.
You can watch Seth walking through those matches. Also, there's like times where you see Seth is just like, "Yo, go for that." What did he say? He's like, "Frog splash, bro."
Frog splash, buddy. Frog splash, buddy.
You can see him like he has to like.
Come on, buddy.
What to do.
He's like, "Frog splash, buddy. Go for it, man.
Look,
you got it."
He barely knows how to wrestle.
I think Rey Mysterio has worked hard enough for this business where the business can kind of give him, subsidized education for his son, right? You get like free tuition, he's like a legacy. It's like, look, I want to create something for my kid. And the business is happy to be like, look, we will hold this fucker's hand through his matches. We will put him with Brock Lesnar, arguably the toppest guy. We will give you whatever you want, Rey, because Rey Mysterio is a guy who, he gave his life to the business for sure. So I'm all for it. But let's call a spade a spade. It's not like the kid is like good. I'm not like, hey, great, this guy's here. I mean, he's just some fucking guy.
The storytelling's been really good, and Dominic's clearly giving it his all, and you feel that passion. He's doing a good job.
Yeah. Now, but look, here's the deal. I don't see a lot of stuff that I'm into out of him. Like, I certainly don't see a lot of, and look, he's super young, so obviously it's going to be developed. I have a lot of faith because he's going to be starting so young at this level. Like, I'm sure good things might happen for him, but there's no stick.
He'll definitely disappear for a year, come back huge.
Right. Well, he's got to put some size on. But that's it. When you're coming out of high school, like when you're that age,
he's 23. He's not that young.
I'm just saying. But if you look at like,
he's not 18,
Kevin Garnett in his first few years of the NBA versus the end, it's like you're going to come in a little bit underweight. That's fine.
That's true. Anything's possible.
He definitely needs to put on some size. He needs to, I would like to see a little bit more mic work out of the guy that's not fucking cringeworthy. However, him and Aaliyah both are able to really dial up the tears. They could really get emotional. And I got to give him credit there for a little bit of acting work. I like watching those two fight.
Aaliyah Mysterio one of your guys?
Absolutely. Okay. Aaliyah Mysterio, one of my guys. Buddy Murphy, by the way, what a kayfabe, lights out shooters list this guy has. He's taken down Aaliyah Mysterio, a 19-year-old. coming off of being engaged to Alexa Bliss. This guy is a legend.
I mean, all right. Well, okay. All right.
Why don't you shut up, Steve?
Okay. So.
What?
I want to ask you guys something. Where are you guys at? I'm going to pivot to somewhere else, but just for time. Where are you guys at on Goldberg coming back? Like, whenever Goldberg comes up, I think there's so much hate on the internet for Goldberg coming back, and I'm always like, yeah,
I will say
Goldberg.
something.
I'm always
I will say something.
Yes, Goldberg's back. Like, I'm like the guy everyone hates, where I'm just like, it's fucking Goldberg.
I think this COVID era wrestling now with the Thunderdome and everything going on, I think anything is possible. I think if there was ever a time for Goldberg to succeed, it's now, For some reason, I just thought of it today, just with how everything's being shot and how there's no pressure because it's really not really even fucking in front of a crowd. You're starting to see like better storytelling, and I feel like they can find something good for Goldberg now, which was always just felt like stupid and dumb when he came back.
Well, but he's not going to be like getting involved in storyline, or he's just sort of like popping in for a little Goldberg stint. Like
I mean, it would be cool.
What did he do on SmackDown? I didn't see him. What did he do?
I don't think he even did anything.
I thought, but I'm saying, when Goldberg
Didn't
comes,
he was coming back for the premiere. I saw the final match of SmackDown.
Something backstage or something. I don't know.
It's like dude, when Goldberg comes back though, it's like for 6 weeks tops. And I'm cool with that.
I mean,
ask me, Dan. Ask me what I think of Goldberg again.
What do you think of Goldberg?
Autographed Goldberg belts, bro.
Toy belt.
Oh, okay. So that's what you think of him? You think about that you have his autograph.
Jewish icon. One of the most jacked Jewish people of all time. No, here's what I think about Goldberg.
I think Roman should beat the shit out of him. That's what I think.
Yeah, sure.
He's
Why
gonna
not?
come
Look,
back.
Yeah, I mean, they were supposed to wrestle at Mania,
I don't think
tattoo over his tribal
this would be
tattoo.
Listen, Goldberg versus Reigns now I'm interested in it.
Sure.
This version of Reigns versus Goldberg's way more interesting than the Superman Reigns.
Two immunocompromised dudes fighting it out in the Corona pandemic. I love
Why
it.
is
One guy
immunocompromised for being just Jewish.
No, for being
50?
old. And a guy who's over 65 and a guy who's survived getting luked up a couple times. Like, this is the battle of the Corona. All right, look, here's what I got to say about Goldberg coming back.
God.
Okay,
You just slip in these lines. Yeah. Okay.
You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. All right. When I watch Goldberg, it reminds me now. I'm going to be a little bit biased. I love Goldberg. I think it's one of the best booking of all time. His WCW run. I think he's a legend. He was just cool. It was cool to just demolish motherfuckers, right? That was cool. And then be named Goldberg while doing it. It's just such a mind fuck. I love it. Here's the thing. When I was in my heyday of wrestling, all right, which is like Attitude Era, Ric Flair was still around. And it was like, I was like, fuck this guy. I didn't really love him in 1992. I certainly wasn't around in the 80s and 70s watching, and he was there rooting motherfucking star pushes in WCW. Him and Hogan were booking themselves to the moon. They were keeping their boot on Jericho's neck and all these younger guys. Like, WCW sucks because all these old guys just held everyone back. And Flair's in the story, and his matches suck. And he's like in his 50s and 60s. You're like, Jesus, this is garbage. And then when he was in WWE later, it was like, enough already. Like, Evolution, it's garbage. I hated seeing him. I just didn't get him. I was like, this is over. Enough of this guy. But then he just kept sticking around for so much longer, still wrestling, that I was like, whoa, like, what? This is still happening? The guy's like, and I just became flat out impressed. I just stopped being angry about, like, how it doesn't really make sense. And I just started being like, you know what? This is actually kind of fucking awesome. Like, who on earth can do this except for this fucking guy?
Yeah.
Who's just not going down without a fight like this guy? And then when he had, look, we were talking about the Flair
Goldberg Brock run was. Oh, you're talking about Flair. Sorry,
I'm talking about Flair. So I'm just saying that, like, he just wouldn't go away despite it being a little bit too late for that shit, and then just kept going and kept going and kept going until I just had to respect it, right? And I feel like that's maybe where we're going with Goldberg. It seems like his guy is like, he's a little bit too old to be like the guy who beats the Fiend. Like, he's a little bit too old to, like, beat Lesnar.
that was insane.
Right. It's insane. But they keep doing it. And so at this point, I'm like, you know what, motherfucker? They just keep doing it. Like, in 10 years, I want this guy jackhammering like John Cena's son. You know, like, I want this guy to show up no matter what age at any moment in time and just take the world title off an otherwise undefeated guy again. And I'll just be like, you know what, bro? I'm with it. It's fucking great. It just is what it is.
You know they did that twice. They did that Kevin Owens. Remember Kevin Owens? They just threw the Universal title on Goldberg. He took him out, and then he did it to Fiend also. Like Goldberg pops in and wins the title out of nowhere.
You know what? He did it to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but he didn't beat the title take the title.
Yo, you know what?
They threw the title on him last minute just for Mania 2 times.
Yeah,
but but the Lesnar Goldberg match was one of the best things they ever did. That was so
amazing.
Fucking awesome. And then their Mania match was a blast.
It was awesome. I love that match. That was all killer, no filler. That was like a quadruple
4
stuffed
minutes
Oreo.
Long. It was awesome.
I call that match a quadruple stuffed Oreo. It's just cream, spear, jackhammer, F5. It's just boom, bop, beep, bop, bop. It's awesome.
Yeah, Goldberg, I think he went for a spear and Brock jumped over him. Remember that? That was
awesome,
a good time.
Baby, yeah.
Whatchamacallit?
When's Bailey going to bring out
matches? You guys want to talk
like
AEW for a little bit?
I would
hold on one
love
second.
to.
Shit, I was going to say something. Where would we be? Where would we be if COVID didn't happen, and Roman would have beaten Goldberg, and we probably would have never gotten this version of Roman Reigns.
That's a great call, because it got us to this point. This version of Roman Reigns was a long time coming. It was always in their back pocket because everyone, he was always
This is
pushed.
like his Hollywood Hogan, right?
Right. Well, yes, but it was always being pushed as his babyface heel, even though it didn't make sense. He didn't feel like, babyface face. He didn't feel like a natural face. Mm-hmm. Anytime he would kind of be heely, it would feel so much better. We always knew it was coming. And in fact, I want one of the marks who listen to this podcast to go back and find, because I know for a fact me and Dan talked. Obviously, Dan has talked at length about Roman taking off the vest. But I know on this pod, we came to the conclusion, I believe it was me who did so, that Roman Reigns, when he finally makes that heel turn, that's when they're finally going to take the vest off of him. Because that's just such a clean character shift. And then when he inevitably turns into a face again, they'll just throw that fucking vest right back on. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, everyone's going to pop like crazy because he's a good guy again, right? So this is such an obvious, inevitable character shift that had to happen because everybody in the world wanted it. We all wanted to see heel Roman, and all the kids who used to cheer for him and loved him, now they're all teenagers. So they're ready for a heel Roman.
And just think about, I was saying it to Dan, I was like, just think about where they can go with this. They can go with this in 1 million directions. It's insane how awesome they can make this, now with him. They can bring back anybody that they want. They can tell any story that they want. This version of Roman
is probably the most successful thing of my catch up to wrestling. Was the and again, obvious as it may be, inevitable as it may be, but necessary is the Roman heel turn. We all wanted it, and it's been delivering. It's been phenomenal.
You know what I want to see so bad? I was thinking about. I want to see Roman Orton. These two, and both not like one goes babyface. I mean, both of them just
heel versus heel.
Yeah,
but let me tell you something. The problem.
That's mania, bro. That's mania. Orton Reigns.
Orton, absolutely. The wall that we've hit here, Dan. We talked about it in part 1 of our unlimited parts RKO analysis sub-saga. The problem they hit with Orton is he's a 13-time champ. Triple H is 14, and then you got 16. You got Cena and Flair. There's only so many more runs they could even let this guy have because he's not even old yet. He'll be around for another 15 years. So it's all these angles. It's I think the work he's doing now, he should take the belt off of Drew McIntyre. They're not going to let him because they don't have the Randy Orton runway for that. Because at this rate, he'll be champ 5 more times. He doesn't deserve to have it more than Cena or Flair. So it's tough. But I want to talk Roman Reigns because I got a little bit of dream booking for you on Roman Reigns. We all love everything going on with Roman Reigns. The one thing that we've mentioned feels a little weird to me is this: how he keeps saying he's the tribal chief. He's the tribal chief. It works. I like it. It just feels slightly ethnicized. It seems a little bit not.
If you say tribal chief 3 times in 2 paragraphs, it's odd.
It seems a little bit too much that they're shoving that down
Hey, I'm
everyone's
the
throat so
tribal
much.
chief.
And like it sounds a little goofy almost because it sounds like cartoonishly like in like Looney Tunes cartoons when they show like a jungle kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
like
so it's a
Moana.
little bit, it's a little bit bump for me, but not too much. I still think it's right. So they need to earn the tribal chief. And what I want for him more than anything, what I've always wanted for him, what I've been wanting for him since when he was the most annoying guy in my life 5 years ago or 6 years ago, is heel stable. Get the Usos as his enforcers. Call that stable the tribe, or the tribal council, or whatever, the Samoan tribe, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Now calling him the tribal chief doesn't feel so weird.
Give him the face paint back too.
He doesn't need the face paint because let me tell you something.
No, give the Usos the face
absolutely, absolutely. But let me tell you something. Roman Reigns, I've seen a lot of Samoans wrestle shirtless, baby. I've seen a lot of Samoans out there. Roman Reigns has got the best tribal tats in the Samoan ecosystem, in probably all of Earth. He's got
that tattoo.
Some really great work on.
They gave him the setup he deserved. You know when people get tattoos and you're like, that's not the setup he deserves. I mean, you know who comes to mind? Unfortunately, it breaks my heart every time. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, when he overdid the Brahma bull with that sort of like high detail bull skull, it's just that's not the ink he deserves. A lot of guys get ink that just doesn't.
Tattoo is awful.
It's awful. Let's be honest. But Roman Reigns' work, that is the caliber of work that he has earned and he deserves, and it looks great on him.
Yeah.
I love seeing his body, and I love seeing his ink.
I think those Samoan tattoos are the best looking tattoos.
Well, I'll tell you what. They look extra good.
What culture has better tattoos?
They look really good on someone who's actually Samoan or Polynesian. Like, it's a little bit wacky when it's like, what's up, it's me.
People have pictures of white guys with those.
Absolutely. Like Chad and Kyle found themselves in between, like before they went to law school and they traveled to American Samoa and they just decided to get like the hand banged, the wood thing with the hammer. I think Angelina Jolie got some tattoos done that way too. And they're just like, I just really connected.
Did you find yourself cheering for
I think her tattoos look cool actually, but I don't know what
Jey Uso when he actually like got at Roman there with the fucking slap and then the super kick.
I mean, it was
cool. I actually felt myself. I was like, "Come on, Uso!" I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Whoa." It worked.
I think it's good. I mean, I'm surprised that Jey Uso can carry this thing, but it's just the booking and the writing is just too sweet to be sour. Like, it's unknockable. Like, he could be doing a way worse job than he's doing, and it would still be amazing. But he's doing a really good job. I gotta give him credit.
If you think about it, though, it's all real. It's kind of
for sure.
He's the twin. He's the younger, the other the other cousin, like it's just it just all is actual kind of real shit.
Absolutely.
Can easily be real. So when it's relatable and it's work and it's kind of, you can be like, oh, this is kind of how it could really be. That's when wrestling is like. It's too good.
Perfect. It's perfect work shoot, right? Like it's like you always want to walk away from wrestling. It's scripted. It's the kind of, I always say this. It's what's really difficult to explain to people about what's so much better about wrestling than other shows is like that work shoot element of like you believe there's a chance they actually feel that way. Like you actually you believe it. And like a guy like Randy's always a guy I point out because like you do kind of believe he has this ego where he kind of would want to beat up these legends. Like it's kind of believable that he would do that.
It is so not crazy to me how much Randy Orton is maybe my favorite wrestler of all time. I fucking love Randy Orton. I love this guy.
What would you, if you had to give your list, Shebs, your top 5 wrestlers of all time? Not Mount Rushmore, nothing. Just your guys.
Look,
I always say, I love Goldberg so much, but I know that he's nowhere near the top 50 best wrestlers.
But you're talking about like my favorites? Or just who I think.
Yeah. Who are your like?
I mean, look, the problem is like The Rock is just has the top spot forever and always. Like I've been down since day one with that motherfucker. Right. The Rock is the best, right? The Rock.
Same way I'm down with Dominic Mysterio. Gotta get.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we could talk in 30 years to see if your guy is the fucking president, but The Rock certainly will be.
It's probably my number one favorite wrestler of all time. If I just be honest, is probably Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, why not?
It's just
Why
like
not?
when I was a kid, the way I looked at Ultimate, I was like, he's the best. He was so fucking cool.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do about that.
No, and you shouldn't. And that's the beauty of wrestling.
Shawn Michaels was that for me when I was a kid. I just felt like he was the coolest fucking human
as a
being
kid,
ever.
I liked Shawn as an adult. As a kid, I didn't get it.
I could
too
never
small.
vibe.
He was too
He
small.
was too
for me.
small. Well, you like those big 80s, 90s powerhouses.
Yeah,
so,
I love the huge
But I've
wrestlers.
got my own issues with Shawn. We don't need to get into it, but he's obviously a legend and an incredible. We love Shawn, but not me. I don't love him. But we got The Rock, absolutely. Randy Orton could be number 2 or 3. I mean,
So
Scott
Rock
Hall.
won.
Rock won.
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, probably my number 2. I famously loved him so much as a kid because he was the only wrestler with chest hair like my family. Like I was like, oh yeah, this guy's like me because he's got a chest hair. I didn't have
You
chest.
also pretended to be Cuban, right? Your family.
Yeah, we did that. 100% we did that. That's what we did because we had to hide our ethnicity because they were. What happened is they exported. They dispelled all the Jewish people from Iraq at some point in Spain, and so we went to Cuba.
It's fine. You don't need the ESN that bit.
We are Cubans.
So Razor Ramon number 2.
Razor Ramon,
number 3.
Razor
So
Ramon,
Rock
Scott Hall
won,
combo.
Razor Ramon number 3, and number 3 is probably Orton for you.
Well, I got Cody in there. Cody is a big guy for me. Dusty is a big guy for me, and Cody's a big guy for me. And I can't deny my love of Jericho either. Jericho is just so supreme. So supreme. But let's just call the 5 Rock, Orton, Razor Ramon, and Jericho and Cody.
Okay, you can. By the way, you can change it, so it's fine. Tullo, if you had to give your 5, what would your 5 be?
Probably Rock, Stone Cold, HBK. I loved Razor Ramon as a kid, so Razor Ramon.
Hard not to.
Is that 5?
I mean, such a cool guy. You're talking about like a guy who just is fucking cool. That's Scott Hall. That's Razor Ramon.
I think that for me, I think it's got to be. I think I have to follow a little bit of the WWE draft rules a bit,
Right.
and I have to go like if I'm fully honest. And you're talking about my full Mark Dome.
Right.
It's probably like 1 Ultimate Warrior,
Sure.
2 Rock,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
3 Stone Cold,
Why not?
4 just DX.
Yeah, it's so
Like,
true.
You can't deny
It's
like
so
how
true.
important DX was. So
DX was
important to
huge.
me.
DX was huge. But the problem that I say with DX, though, out of everything that I loved about wrestling, the one thing
Does
I
not hold
know
up.
doesn't hold up is
No.
DX sucks. DX absolutely fucking sucks.
Because I wish I could say it was. I would love to say it was NWO or like Hollywood Hogan, but I was
Right.
so much more into DX. I just be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
you
Well,
know?
we actually, Dan, you and me,
Yeah.
we weren't actually actively watching wrestling when NWO first popped. Like we just dipped out and then dipped back
right.
after the waves of NWO happened, and everyone's like, kind of like with Bullet Club, where no one knew what the fuck was going on in NJPW except for like
for
the
you.
biggest marks,
Right.
except for me. And then obviously when Bullet Club happened, about like 6 months in, we started catching wind of it. Famously on this podcast, obviously,
Right.
I'm the first guy that any of you know who bought a Bullet Club t-shirt, even though I've never seen a match of theirs. But I was like, something's going on over there, and I went in.
Mm.
No, you bought that Bullet Club shirt so early. That was
Yeah. Because I knew the guys. I mean, these
the
aren't
Street
nicknames.
Whisperer.
I am the Street Whisperer. You think they don't have streets in Tokyo? How do you think you get to the Tokyo Dome? You got to drive your space car on a street.
Dude, I've actually been to the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, and did you notice all the streets around them?
I did, yeah.
And did
And
you
when they're whispering.
Did you have
Actually-
your ear? Did you have your ear to the fucking streets like I do?
I should have. I fucked that up.
But you don't, and I do. So that's the thing. NWO, like we caught that something was going on. We were like, yo, something's going on over there. It's NWO. Like the way I caught Bullet Club, we as like residual wrestling fans sensed that there was the NWO happening. We're like, we got to figure out what's going on here in wrestling. And then Stone Cold was happening on the other side. And then we're like, we got to get back in there.
Right.
And then we just all jumped back in. And I was lucky that I happened to jump back in right when The Rock was showing up.
I didn't give my number 5, but it might be over
Orton.
time.
I love it.
It
I
might
love
be
it.
over
Orton.
time. Like if you just think about the amount of years that I've enjoyed the guy's work, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd have to think about it more. But like I like Orton way more than I liked like Undertaker.
Well, but that's
like
yeah. But that's
know
the
what I
thing.
mean?
For me, the tough ones are like the guys I listed. particularly like Jericho. Because Jericho, like, I just haven't, my respect for him just keeps growing. But it's like really like heart of hearts guys I truly love. Like Undertaker was one of my favorite wrestlers as a kid. Like I loved him. Mankind, Mick Foley, I absolutely love. Like I love him. I love him.
Yeah, but I think Seth by the end of his career will be in my top 5 favorite wrestlers.
Why
You know?
not? Why not?
Just from 31
I was
on,
thinking
like,
that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Messiah gimmick he's doing, I mean, I wish they would give him better music, but like make him his song a little less first drafty and not just Bailey's song. But
gotta
I
tell you,
legit thought
I don't know
Bailey
why
was coming out this week.
they have the same exact song.
Yeah, I don't know
To
why
interrupt, who was it? Oh, Jeff Hardy or whatever it was. I was like, why is Bailey coming out? Or whatever the scenario was. I was like,
why can't Seth Rollins get this guy's have his old fucking music and just still be called the Monday Night Messiah?
I don't know.
Like, or why can't he do like a Fiend remake of his old music that has like a little bit of a different vibe, but it's the same
I agree,
thing?
and I get taking out. I would take out the Burn It Down because Burn It Down was like kind of a representative of his old thing he was doing.
I gotta be honest, I prefer Burn It Down Seth Rollins to Monday Night Messiah. Although I mean I appreciate the fun of it. I like Burn It Down Seth better. How
mean,
fun was it to scream Burn It
the
Down?
best version of Screaming Burn It Down is one of the cool. It's one of the most fun things.
Man,
to do
it
when
got
you're,
so
when you're
loud.
there live. You scream it fucking loud.
Well,
it
look,
really
dude,
got fucking shitty though after he beat Lesnar at Mania. That's when it started to die down on him. But leading up to that part, it was fucking loud as shit, man. Money in the Bank and all that stuff.
But the thing with Seth is the Messiah gimmick. I really think that if he was in front of a crowd, I think he's one of the guys hurt the most by the pandemic. I think this would be going super well. I think he'd be getting so much heel heat. But
I agree.
So I think he's one example of a guy who's being hurt by the pandemic and is doing actually like top level work. Especially, I'm always impressed by guys who are doing great work who are not in title pictures. You know, like Miz is a great example of this, except for like this is the worst kind of Miz zone. They just put him in like the Otis goof zone. Like it's such a waste of his talents. I like Nazi Miz. You know what I mean? But so I'm saying I think Seth's doing great work. But yes, like Architect Seth is the best, and I'm not even sure we needed this Messiah thing as much as like it's fun, it's cool, but it's a little high concept. I do think it works and I like it. I'm glad he did it, but like I hope he settles into just being like Architect Seth for a longer period of time.
Well, they're never gonna not call him the Architect, right? Like that's a nickname that's like always gonna follow him, so he could always just dip back to that.
Right.
You know what Seth is really, what we really need out of Seth? Is like a nice chunk of paternity leave. And then he just dips out and comes back.
Well, it's gonna
and
happen. That's why he's not in title pictures or anything.
That's what I'm saying. So I think he's earned. You know, he's a guy who's earned the right to kind of take off a little bit. So I think that you give us a little bit of time away to really miss him. By the way, I mean Seth and Roman feud stuff could be so incredible. Like
I'm thinking next SummerSlam for that now.
Okay.
Seth Roman is gonna be sick. That Seth Roman will be that'll be fantastic.
Can you imagine if Seth wins the Rumble this year?
Talk about like when Becky comes back, how big that's gonna be.
Yeah,
it's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be huge.
I hope they put in like motherhood into part of her gimmick. Like she's like, I'm one bad mother or something like that.
Yeah, Mother Lasser.
Totally will. I think her being a mom is totally gonna fit perfectly into her.
I also like, I think that it's important to note that like you could be a fucking ass kicker and also be someone's mom. I think it'd be good for mom. You could be a last
She's
kicker.
a last kicker.
It'd be great if she like comes out and like washes people's mouth out with soap for like, hey, you don't use dirty words.
This song is so bad.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It gets even worse.
Yikes. Is this Wait.
All right.
It sounds
else
like
you guys wanted to make sure we hit on this episode?
Yes, I think we want to on this episode. We didn't even get to AEW. We got to get into a couple things about
fine, Shebs.
WWE. I'm gonna run through in my return.
This is
to
my
wrestling.
favorite part about when Shebs runs through all his things that he wants to talk about.
I got to run through a couple things.
Let's go.
I've been gone. I got drafted. Okay, look, guys, I
You're
haven't
back.
been here. I was a surprise draft pick back to the Comedians of Wrestling. Okay, Dan Black specifically drafted me in conjunction with the Raw and SmackDown draft. Okay, that's why I'm here. So my return to wrestling, I've got a lot to catch up on. I had to catch up. I'm back. I'm in. I'll just give you a quick lay of the land. The Fiend doing incredible work. So some of the most exciting stuff happening is the Fiend. I'm just talking about WWE. It's the Fiend.
Agree.
I think Alexa with the Fiend is just, it's cool. It works. I'm excited. I don't know what's going on, but I'm into it. I think Drew McIntyre is holding it down. He's doing solid work. Randy Orton, of course, is fucking shooting the goddamn lights out. There was a poker game with a bunch of legends after they all teamed up on Randy Orton that obviously made no sense. It was wrestling poker logic where the cooler of the guy you are, the more fantastical your hand is. Ric Flair just got dealt a royal flush in 5-stud poker. That means they just give you 5 cards. That's it. 5 up, 5 down. Spades, baby. So there's been some weird shit, but obviously I think Orton's been doing fantastic work. I loved Night Vision Orton. That's when Orton comes back with night vision goggles, dressed like a janitor.
Custodian, yeah.
There was no reason for him to be a janitor, by the way.
Dude, who was the one who threw a can at him, like in some other promo? Like there was some guy just threw something down the hall at the janitor, and you just knew that janitor is like, that's something. Something's going on over there.
But why did he need to be a janitor? He's allowed in the building.
No, because he told everyone he left. He was like, look, I'm leaving for the day. Look, I'd love to sit here and challenge Drew McIntyre, but I've got things that I got to do. So, yeah, I'm going to go.
I still loved it. I think it was great.
It was
flicking
incredible.
off the lights and pulling a fucking silence in the lamps.
Oh, it was incredible. Night Vision Orton is the fucking shit. Loved it. Fiend's crushing, Alexa's crushing, Orton's crushing, all the usual suspects. Bailey's shit in the goddamn bed. Roman is probably, while not my favorite stuff going on, like I think the Fiend is a little bit more exciting to me. Roman is definitely doing the most important and like it is the best stuff. Like what Roman's doing is the best thing. It had to happen. It's going great. And the only weird thing is he seems to have gotten some veneers.
Yes.
I don't know if we've talked about that.
We've talked about it at length.
I don't
say too much talking about it.
I've got no problem with them. It's fine. I'm just curious.
I'm used to them
why.
already. They look fine.
The debut of them the first night was like they were
definitely
insane.
It was a little jarring, but now
They
I'm
were
used
fresh.
to it.
But the thing is, his teeth were good
He
before.
got the best guy in Florida to do his teeth. That's
But wasn't his teeth already good? Like he didn't have weird teeth to me. I just thought they
he's
looked.
trying to do movies and shit. You know what I mean? So I think he's just trying to get perfect.
Yeah, but
teeth.
that's the wrong way to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't need to do that, pal. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Heath Slater is obviously gone. That's a shame.
You want to talk about AEW?
No. I also got to say something. Jinder Mahal is where's he at? You said he's injured and he's getting jacked.
He was injured, but then he's. I saw him working out on Instagram.
But is he still under contract with WWE or did they cut him?
Yeah. He's still there.
I was hoping that he was going to be a surprise entrance to the draft and they were going to call it a Jinder reveal party. That's when he goes off. That's when Jinder, because Jinder does this every once in a while. Jinder, nothing special.
That's really funny.
But Jinder, sometimes he'll disappear. Jinder Mahal sometimes disappears, and then he just gets jacked out of his motherfucking mind.
He got last year. Last year he got drafted. He wasn't even back. He was just like, "Oh, Jinder got drafted."
Exactly.
Everybody's like, "What?"
And he gets drafted because he's so goddamn jacked. And then when he comes back, and when you get that first look at him with like that extra 20 pounds of muscle, that's the Jinder reveal. So his gimmick should be that he has the Jinder reveal party.
Reveal party is so funny.
Yo, that's so funny.
And he comes out like pink and blue tights, like split screen, and you don't know which one you're gonna get. And then he just comes, nails it.
All right, great.
That's my pitch for Jinder.
I love that.
Okay. What else is going on in WWE that we need to touch? Keith Lee looks to me and sounds to me like Uncle Phil. I think he's soft as fuck. I think he's a great in-ring performer, and that's where it ends. I am almost vomited when they let him beat Randy Orton twice. I thought it was ridiculous. He's got a lot of work to do. I understand why he's lovable and good, but if you hear this guy cut a promo and you don't want to jam a fork into your ear, then you must have it on mute.
His promos are stiff. His promos are.
He sounds stiff. Like when Uncle Phil was lecturing Will Smith about why you don't need to, pretend you have you drive a fancy car to impress a girl at school. It was always it's just like it's bad, man. He has no.
Doesn't he love me, man?
He's got nothing to offer on the microphone. It is awkward and strange and silly, and he looks like a teddy bear. He legitimately looks like someone
I love
deep fake face swapped Uncle Phil onto like a big, strong wrestler.
Okay. I think my beef with whatever. We talked a lot about Keith Lee. Do you want to get to AEW before we bounce?
The Legion
Or
is
should we-
stupid. His outfits are disgusting. He looks like a fool always. He's packaged impossibly. He has thinning hair all over his head, like how Arlen had after college. Like it looks like a baby. It's not good hair. He needs to shave it. There's nothing. That guy's gonna fizzle the fuck out so hard. That guy's so impressive in ring and's got literally nothing else to offer. That is exactly what happened with Ricochet, and it breaks my heart. It broke my heart with Ricochet. It's gonna break all your hearts with Keith Lee, but I don't get broken twice. You fool me once, shame on me. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. Okay?
That's what Bush said, right?
Yeah, that's a George Bush quote.
Fool me once, shame on me.
All right.
Fool me a
I'd say we
second
save
time.
AEW for another. We do another.
I don't
pod.
say we save AEW for another week. I have a couple things I got to say about AEW real quick. Okay? I just need to tell you that
All right.
the
Well, then
production-
let's pause quick.
Why?
I got to pause quick
Why?
because I have to pee.
Well, then say, I have to pee.
I got to take a pee break, but I want to be involved in the AEW comment.
How long has this episode been so far?
I don't know. It's fine. I can edit this.
I'll
Just,
make it quick. I'll make it
we'll go-
quick.
all right, quick pee break.
Go. Pee. Yeah, I got pee. What do you got to do?
Yo, last time he did this, he came back early and was talking shit about me before we went back. Yeah. So he does this thing where he like talks shit about me, like when I'm not paying attention.
So when
So
you
like,
pee?
yeah, we went to go take piss breaks and he got back before me and he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna let you guys know Tullo's completely wrong about all that shit.
Oh, to the pod, like he just like
Yeah,
gets some
yeah,
extra
yeah.
words in without you
Yeah.
defend yourself.
And then like I wouldn't watch it because I really liked our last episode, so I like to rewatch it to see how it looks on YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
And
Dishonorable. It's a
and
dishonorable
then
move by him.
this guy's fucking. He always. But you saw what he did with us. Like he was trying to start things between us. He's a shit stirrer, man. He's always talking all this trash about me and saying like how I'm like I don't care and this and that.
Well, look, Tullo, I think he
Like-
loves you. I think I love you. We all love you.
Talks a lot of shit, man.
You are the Marketech. You have to understand, in our friend group, we have Arlen in there. We have some of the most negative
Yeah.
people. Like, our language of love is busting balls and talking shit and being like, you're fucking
But
crazy.
it's
You're
like
out
he
of your mind.
forgets that I have the briefcase too, you know. So it's like,
Woo! That's something to be said.
you know what he said
because-
about me the other day? He goes, "Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, bro. Well, you know, if you were to cash in on me, yeah, gotta be honest, bro. Wouldn't end well for you, you know.
Okay,
Feeling,
okay.
And he's like, goes like this. He goes, I'm feeling pretty jacked.
Well,
you
he
know,
has
feeling
been-
like
he
some
put
kind
on-
of foreign object.
He definitely put
Look
on
at this.
14 pounds of muscle
Look
like
at me
Cody.
flex. Look at these men. Look at this. I don't even know what this is right here.
Yeah.
Look at
No,
me.
Dan's put on some muscle, man. You got to be careful. You know,
Did
look,
my
I
PRs,
almost
220
forgot you
price.
because before the pandemic, I mean, things were popping. It was going to be Calmania 2. Like, there was a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors and innuendo around
Man.
what were you going to do with the briefcase. There was a lot going on. I mean, with Hassan getting injured, by Letterman,
Hassan.
like, things were going crazy before Calmania. Some actually think that Letterman is behind the whole Corona pandemic as a way to sort of put off Calmania 2.
Wow, I couldn't agree more. Actually.
I don't know. It's a conspiracy theory. You know, it's a QAnon.
I like to talk to Letterman. You got to talk to Letterman every once in a while and just like pick his brain and see where he's at. You know.
with the matches. I mean, everything cooled out. Look, tensions ran a little bit high. Obviously, once the pandemic happened, like everything got neutralized.
That title
Some
is
things
a
are-
crazy title, man. It makes you do crazy shit.
Right, but then once your life is in jeopardy and the whole fate of the human, you're like, hey, look, people are dying. There's some things bigger than just a little gold belt. Like
I mean,
we're
I'll
all
fly to
friends here,
California.
and there's wildfires going on. There's all sorts of civil unrest going on in this country. There's all sorts of crazy election coming up. There's a virus killing hundreds of thousands of people. I think everyone just said, you know what? Let's
It
not
would
worry
be
about
pretty
the
cool
belt.
though. Like through all that though, I just rolled up at his place and just fucking took him down.
Well, look, you have the briefcase, so the option is yours.
Oh man,
And by the way, flights are open. You can fly to L.A.
Hey, what's
saying.
up, man? What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, Tullo,
Yeah.
I saw you talking about how you. I was seeing if you would notice when I talk shit about you on that last pod. I mean, I barely talked any shit. I just thought it was funny.
It's a great cover. I think you meant every word, and I think it's a great cover to tell Tullo that you knew and you did it because he knew.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right, we're talking about AEW. Is there anything you want me to leave in that you guys said that was funny?
All of it.
Should I leave it all in?
The whole thing.
Sure.
Even that 20-second pause.
Okay. AEW. So Shebs, well, let's talk about AEW for a bit. Tullo has been pretty critical on the Patreon episode of AEW as of late. How are you feeling about AEW? As you had been catching up.
AEW is incredible. Okay, it's so much fun. It's so awesome. It reminds me so much of back in the day, pre-2000, when there was another big promotion, when you had WCW and WWE. I didn't even really like WCW that much. There was some great stuff. It's great to have a number 2 in there too. There's just that threat of, I could go somewhere else if this isn't working. I mean, how many guys showed up there and it's been fucking incredible? How good has Jericho been? When Miro showed up, when Rusev showed up, yeah. I came in my pants. He looks so good and he's so free and he's just having a fucking blast. I cannot, the sky's the limit for this guy.
I don't like what they're doing with him in AEW, but I like that I love that he's over there.
He's got the official AEW haircut beard combo. Is a short blonde, bleach blonde hair with a beard. He has it. Stu Grayson. No, not Stu Grayson. The Blade has it.
Evil Uno?
No, the Blade has it. Yeah. Miro has it. When you go to AEW, you bleach your hair blonde, you cut it short, you grow a beard. Brown. That's the look. Look,
they couldn't have.
Buddy, you're gonna tell me how great Bailey's been. Miro's been there for 3 weeks. You're not giving him a fucking chance. You gave Bailey 7 years to have half a fucking match, and you're not going to give Miro the benefit of the doubt.
I dislike what Miro's doing in AEW.
I dislike it so much.
I love what he looks like, although his gear is Jabron's own.
I just
the
don't.
fact that he's a video gamer over there is not my bag at all.
That's not, guys. You guys, I don't even know who I'm talking to. Are you wrestling fans? Do you know what wrestling is? Wrestling is 75% a waste of your fucking time. Okay, he's gonna take months to find out this gimmick. For everybody who's ever apologized or sympathized with the Dark Order and said it's not that bad, whoever's like, no, but they'll do this, then no one has any right to say shit about Miro. In those 3 weeks, he's done more interesting or fun stuff than the Dark Order has in their entire time.
I mean, like the Dark Order, but they stopped trying with it.
Look, all I'm saying is this. The guy's been there for a fucking minute. They haven't even had the bachelor party yet. He had a segment where he's in an arcade and Billy Mitchell from King of Kong shows up next to him and agrees to help him plan a bachelor party. You're going to tell me that this isn't exciting? Are you out of your fucking mind?
I do like that. I just think that my
it's
thing
not
would be
exciting.
Okay. That is
Tullo, have you seen the King of Kong?
No.
The documentary about Donkey Kong. So that's the thing. So that's why you didn't. It was out of your jurisdiction.
Right.
Here's the thing. In AEW, and I'm not saying it's a great segment, and I'm not saying Miro's been crushing it, and I'm not saying, oh my God, everything they do is incredible. But what's exciting about having that number 2, what's exciting about having a non-WWE alternative, okay, is that those guys are just gonna do whatever the fuck they feel like trying to do that they can figure out.
And
like
Jericho's
doing
what he decided to do. Like, I mean,
buddy, let me finish. Jericho did a Mimosa Mayhem match that's so goddamn funny. Who cares if it's successful? We got bubbly, you got orange juice. That's a mimosa. Let's make it a match, and they let him do it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Miro,
I like the idea more than I like that actual match.
But that's what's important.
I love that they let him do it.
But that's what's important. But guys, I'm talking to the fucking circles here. Wrestling is bad. 75% of it is going to be a miss. It's going to suck a lot, often. But because they have that freedom, when they swing that big and it actually hits, it is going to go so much fucking further out of the park. It's going to blow your goddamn mind. Okay? If you're saying that Bailey is going to surprise you with something and, her great day is going to come.
Dude, I completely agree with you in the sense that, like, let's talk about Miro as an example. Okay? I agree that he's better off not being booked by Vince than he is doing, like, trying his own thing. What I'm saying is that I always find that he always has this layer of, like, I'm, like, being funny, a little bit of detachment from his strength that I don't, like, that reminds me of, like, late rock work. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where
But
I'm
if
like,
you're
I want
willing,
more commitment.
I'm just saying, all the time I get shit from all you fucking mark-ass tricks and mark-ass bitches because I don't give this a chance or that a chance. What I'm saying is I'm willing and able and gable to give Miro a chance.
Well,
I'm not saying it's perfect.
Gable.
I'm not saying it's perfect right now. I'm saying this guy, I'm going to give a chance. This guy shows up looking like that much lean, like shredded it up and also super jacked. in ring looking incredible. He's sporting the right haircut, bleach blonde, short crop with a brown beard. He's got Billy Mitchell in there, and he's just going for it. I'm saying, yo, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I like what's on the table, and I'm ready to eat.
Rusev was like the #1 guy I was saying they should sign. I was like, that guy.
100%. And they signed him, and yeah, guess what? They're letting him fuck around with video games for a couple of weeks. Fine, that's not gonna be his gimmick. Tullo, just to fill you in and to
What's
fill
his
in
gimmick gonna be?
to fill in anybody who doesn't know what the King of Kong is. Okay, and Dan, by the way. Now that Billy Mitchell has been on AEW, the King of Kong can be in the
Did
Cow
he get canceled
movie
or something,
series.
Billy Mitchell?
Billy Mitchell got canceled the second he got famous. Everyone's like, yo, that guy's an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
he was never not canceled.
Yeah.
Billy Mitchell, Tullo, and for everyone listening, there's a documentary called The King of Kong.
I think he won an Oscar, right?
I don't know, it should have. It is one of the best documentaries ever. It is about the competitive world of Donkey Kong record breaking. So it's basically two guys are going neck and neck to see who could out-record the other at Donkey Kong, like the 80s OG video game, right? On arcade console.
Trying to hit the kill screen.
Right, trying to get a kill screen on Kong. And one guy is like this great guy, has some kids. He's like a good dude. He's had a tough life. Like, you know, he was one of those guys who just like every time he had a chance to make it, like something just kind of went wrong and like his life is just okay, but he's really obsessed with Donkey Kong and he's doing it. And he found a way to get the record. Then there's this other guy, Billy Mitchell. He's the villain of the movie. He used to have the record. And he was the guy next to Miro in the arcade. He's got like long straightened AJ Styles black hair with an American flag tie. And he's like cheating in the movie. And he's like sicking his minions out to like fuck with the guy's machine. He's like a legit villain but for real, in real life, because it's a documentary. Trying to like fuck with this guy's or say like, yo, that's not legit. I think he was cheating. I think he had this thing in his machine. It's such a great documentary. You would never imagine that this story would be so captivating, but it is. And Billy Mitchell is the main villain of the documentary, and he showed up in the arcade next to Miro, and he was like, oh, I'll help you plan the bachelor party. It's exciting. It's cool. I'm glad they could do shit like that. Jericho 30, I'm glad they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to give Jericho a whole episode of just celebrating. It was incredible. I loved it.
It is fun. My point with AEW is, and where Tullo and I get into it, is that I find NXT to be kind of boring. Like, it has great matches, blah, blah, blah. But, like, AEW, there's a shoddiness to AEW that is like it feels like if we had a camera when we were coming up in UCB.
Sure.
And we were, like, filming every show we did. And some of them were shit.
Sure.
And they were slapped together. And I was like, let's try that. And then when they succeed, it's like from this raw place that WWE never has. But I don't think WWE should not even necessarily be that. Like, WWE being this super polished produced product, there's a real world for that. So I love that AEW, I love where wrestling is settling into now, where WWE's got both NXT and WWE main roster have got their production level high. That's what you get from WWE. You know, and then AEW starting to look a little shantier, a little WCW.
Look,
You know?
I agree 100%. Here's the thing. Here's the two phases of the pandemic with wrestling, okay?
Yeah.
Pre-Thunderdome and post-Thunderdome,
Mm-hmm.
okay? The Thunderdome changed the game, playa, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because, Dan, and I know you've said this, leading up to Thunderdome, AEW was crushing WWE. Like, like it was just
it
better.
Felt like
it was
the higher
right
quality
before
product.
Right. It was,
like
the storylines were better. The matches were better. You have to understand, the beginning of pandemic for WWE was pretty fucking boring. Okay. Like it wasn't that good. It was a real lull times, daddy. And AEW was fresh. It was funny. Jericho would jump on commentary every once in a while. He came up with Pineapple Pete. I mean, you have the Inner Circle. You have Matt Hardy. You have the Stadium Stampede. There was so much great, inventive, cool shit. They were just making lemonade out of this weird scenario. Because they were able to get loose and play with it. Some really cool, fun, interesting shit happened, right? And that wasn't happening on WWE. They were sticking to the script because they have to. And so AEW was outshining WWE big time. Then WWE leaned into their strength, which is we got the money, we've got the production teams, we've got all the staff in place. We could make this stuff look seriously fucking great. They added the Thunderdome, and it really does make AEW look like high school shit.
So
that
crazy.
wide shot of the Thunderdome when they show all the screens,
Woo!
It makes the NBA look like shit. Like
it makes every real sport. It makes the Super Bowl look like shit, and it's just a random
really
Monday Night
does.
Raw. Let me ask you this: how good and / how absolutely fake and doctored is. The crowd noise in WWE, like the crowd chants happen,
I
the
think it
reactions
works,
happen,
though.
but it's definitely not real,
No,
right?
it's completely.
No.
But
But
they give wrestlers like their exact response they want.
NXT
Like, it's
has
Vince's
a combination.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When I'm watching it, I can't even tell it's fake. I just
it's done
know.
so well.
I just know rationally, like, there's no fucking way.
They know the spots now. I want to see the guy on the soundboard that's gone. All right, we're gonna get a 2 count here. 1, 2, and he gets the crowd. The crowd's
Right.
and
And it's amazing, and it's so additive. Meanwhile, AEW could barely even get an in-ring, an in-match replay. They could barely like show me the spot again, and that's tough.
God.
And that's tough.
It's
And that's
crazy,
tough.
dude.
But-
I like it though. I like it.
But there's
Well,
something.
I like that it's like a little shitty, you know?
Right. There's something raw. There's something interesting. But that's the thing. Now you really have, for the first time in 20 years, really, truly, like another competitor. Hey, if you don't like this, maybe you like that. Do you like the high polished this thing, or do you like this nittier, grittier kind of more risks? Let's fuck around thing. We have 2 distinct products. That wasn't Raw versus SmackDown. That bullshit they were trying to sell us on this whole time. Like, oh no, there's 2 different brands. Now we actually have 2 distinct brands for real of wrestling entertainment. And that's really exciting. And I love it. And sometimes one's going to be better, and sometimes the other is going to be better. And sometimes guys that should have got a shake in one are going to do better than the other, like the Revival, like FTR. And sometimes guys who, shouldn't be in one are going to show up in the other one. It's going to be interesting. Jericho said the day he signed the AEW, everyone in WWE got their fucking salary bumped. Yeah. That's amazing. That's great. And I love it.
I don't know if that was true, but he did say that.
Who cares if it's true? It's wrestling, baby. Who
He
knows?
said everybody owes him a steak dinner. And then on AEW that week, he and MJF agreed to next week have a steak dinner.
Okay. Can we just
I
talk
mean,
about that for a second?
That shows
How
you
good
a little bit into the inside of the creative process over at AEW, which is like, he probably just shows up and he goes, what if next week me and MJF have a steak dinner? Because I said steak dinner on Busted Open.
But that's the different levels. That's what I love wrestling, when it's firing on kayfabe and behind the scenes, and then
When it's
behind the
firing
scenes
on no
affects
cylinders.
It's every what?
I want it firing on no cylinders. Like, no, like, I just mean, like, it's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But I'm just saying, how
Fuck
cool
it,
is
we'll do
it?
it live.
How cool is it that, dude, that segment was so successful for me. MJF and Jericho being like, I maybe hypothetically kind of would maybe join. That's funny. And then plus them getting each other's faces and be like, you and me, one-on-one, steak dinner. And it's like, you're on. That's incredible. That's so funny.
I loved that.
That's so funny and
this
so
for
good.
me in the moment, I wasn't really like feeling it. But I know what will come. I know what will come after it, which will be the part that I'll like.
Dude, they're taking these stale, boring, recycled a million times energies and tropes that you'll see in WWE, and there's it's a satire.
I wouldn't say they're connecting on all of it though.
Of course they're not. Dark Order's in there, and it's the biggest piece of shit in all of wrestling. I'm just saying, when there's bad, it's gonna be bad, but when it's good, they're gonna be doing stuff that WWE cannot do.
Yeah.
That satire of the 2 guys squaring off, you're on, buddy, but not about a match, but instead about a steak dinner, is so refreshing and hilarious. I loved it. At the end of Jericho 30, I laughed out fucking loud, and I don't do that ever.
The credits?
At the end of the episode, not just the credits, but the SNL piano music started playing, and everyone came out to celebrate. All the heels came out, and they did the good nights. They were all waving good night from the AEW hard cam. That is so fucking entertaining to me. That is so much fun to watch. And Jericho is the fucking mastermind, man. Jericho is a fucking mastermind. I cannot speak highly enough of Jericho.
I feel like they almost kind of like got ahead of me in a way when they did the thing where MJF gave him a picture of himself as the gift, and then Jericho wasn't mad about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, all right, actually, that was pretty funny. All right, enjoy the show. Like, it's like, and then, by the way, he gave that Judas effect to that clown, and he went flying.
I think that guy's dead. He's got to be dead, right?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I do want to take a quick negativity break to say the Judas effect is incredible. Successful strike finish. Jericho pulls it off. I had the misfortune of seeing Big Swole's finisher this week or last week, which is just a Judas effect, only she spins the other way. She hits you like with a front elbow. That lady needs a better finisher, man. That shit is so underwhelming. It's like a joke.
It's a lot more to be defined with her.
Oh my God. What a joke. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jericho's fucking crushing it. the thing about AEW is AEW, you're absolutely right. It's a little bit shantier than WWE, but they have a little bit more of that grittiness, that grit that Edge has, right? And it has all these old kind of semi-washed up guys kind of in there. Like to see Dustin is really funny to see fucking QT Marshall, as Jericho called him one time, which is amazing. To see it's funny to have Tony Schiavone in there, who's an absolute nightmare, right? Like, it really feels to me like WCW and ECW merged and had a baby, and that's what AEW is. But that's an awesome lane to be. It's the ultimate alternative to WWE, and it is so good. And Cody Rhodes is doing work every time you see this fucking guy.
Dude, he's amazing.
He is giving you the best pro wrestling that exists on television. Every time, no matter what, lights out. It is so fucking good.
As Shebiro, I said it when he was gone for those 6 weeks. It was fucking a horror show without him around, man. It really was.
I can't speak highly enough of this fucking guy. Like,
it
is so great.
Dude, when he's not around, they're lost.
Then they're like the Bucks. Then it's like the
Oh.
Bucks, like trying to be funny and trying to be badasses, and it's like kind of working, and it's kind of fun to see. And yeah, his hair got longer, and that's kind of interesting. It's a very beautiful hair he has, but it's like Cody is the guy. There's no question. Cody is so the goddamn guy. He may be the best wrestler wrestling today. He very well may be. I don't know.
He's looking jacked too.
This is the one thing that's funny about it is he put on some muscle clearly, and then that he also gets to script the shit because he's like
they talked about
They keep
it.
mentioning that he put on 14 pounds of pure muscle. I love it. It's like specifically, and I bet in like 2 or 3 weeks it's gonna be 15. Like he's telling you exactly how much muscle he put on, and you have to say it, and it's incredible. Look, by the way, when he came back with the black hair for some reason for a couple weeks. As like Diablo Cody, I think Dan, you said that.
I called him Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody. Did you say it on the pod or no?
No, I haven't said.
Such a funny call. It deserves being mentioned on the podcast. Dan called it.
That was one of the combo we have enough. I said I called him Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody with the black hair. He came back dressed like a Devil May Cry character, just dressed like a bad guy in a video game. And he looked fucking incredible.
Tricked us into buying a T-shirt.
Tricked me into buying a T-shirt. I have 3 Cody T-shirts. I'm gonna get 7 more. I have no regrets. He comes in. His matches are incredible. His in-ring is incredible. His promos make me almost cry. The promo he had during this quarantine, there was one promo. Man, what was it leading up to? It was like was there a debate? Did he have a debate at some point with someone?
Yeah.
Jericho and MJF. Jericho had a debate or something with what's his name? Orange Cassidy. But there was some other. Who was Cody feuding with earlier in the pandemic? I don't even remember. I don't know, but he cut a promo where he was talking about how he is so proud to call himself a professional wrestler, and he has given his whole life to being a professional wrestler, and he did this so he could support wrestling. I mean, I'm almost in tears.
He just cut that this week.
No, there was one even further ago. The one this week was incredible. I'm in tears with this guy.
All right,
so emotional
Shebs,
to me.
we went way over time here.
I got one more thing to say.
All right, say it, and then say it, and let's do it. Remember, this is brought to you, all this bonus content. This is not our main episode. This is an extra episode. Sign up on the Patreon, patreon.com/comedianswrestling.
This is brought to you by my new pitch.
You can hear Shebs talk about, we have the RKO special that you can hear on any tier on the Patreon, ranking RKOs.
Wrestling, the best thing about wrestling, and the thing that wrestling is most about, is respect. It's all about respect. I love when respect is given. I love when respect is taken. I love when respect is earned. And the amount of respect that was flying around to Jericho 30.
Someone you idolize.
Absolutely. There was so much respect. It was so beautiful to see. He had respect from musicians, from other wrestlers. He had his father. He had his father, Ted Irvine, saying, "I'm proud of you. I love watching you entertain us."
All right.
So much respect. Tullo. Are you disrespecting the concept of respect?
Play him off.
You don't like. Dan, mute this fucking guy because he's disrespecting respect. How you? Look, I understand you want to give me disrespect. You're gonna disrespect actual respect. Dan, you got to mute this guy. It's out of control. I don't know what's going on. Mute him immediately. Mute him immediately. This is disgusting.
Just keep going. The respect going on. Tullo wasn't. I guess he wasn't feeling the Jericho 30.
Look, this guy, it's a real sad thing to be a huge fucking mark for the biggest corporate product in America and really shit on homegrown respect.
Oh,
Homegrown respect.
Stop it. Don't come back. Don't come back day one. Don't fucking come back day one and think you fucking know what's going on. Because I've been here while you've been away sulking in the fucking corner, right, buddy? I've been here showing up all the time. Weekend.
12 years.
Exactly. And I've been showing up and giving my opinion. So you just come back here and think you think I know you know what I'm about?
Well, look, Tullo, here's all I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I'm going to say scoreboard bitch. I'm glad you tanked the goddamn show for a couple months. Let's watch how many more listeners we get now that I'm fucking back, baby.
I'm sorry.
You're welcome. You can follow
everybody.
me at Shebiro. That's Sierra Hotel, Echo Bravo, India, Romeo, Oscar. You can check out my real radio show on an actual radio service that people pay for on Sirius XM Thursdays at 4 p.m. The Raw Report, Channel 99. Tune in live every week. We talk to big celebrity guests, not Nick Tullo from Long Island, but, people on TV and stuff like Skylar Aston. And also check out my other
Comes on here
podcast,
too.
Throwback Explains It All. New episodes every Throwback Thursday. That is in partnership with the greatest vintage store in all of New York City, Mr. Throwback. And, of course, guys, it bears repeating. Follow me at Shebiro on all your social media. I'm so glad I'm back to help bring this show to a new era.
Don't worry, we'll sprinkle them in here and there. As to not piss off too many people. But Tullo, everyone. So listen, this is.
I'm leaving for this part of the exit. I don't like the way I was treated. There was a lot of disrespect flying around. It's bullshit.
Okay.
I'm out of here.
Okay.
Go.
Peace, bro. So anyway, this episode, this
sucks.
is a bonus episode of the podcast. Came out on Monday. The return of Jason Shebiro and Tullo going at it. But we had to, look, times were rough on here. Times rough.
You
times
just gotta
were
let
also
him fucking
down.
talk.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just gotta let him. You just gotta let him talk.
Don't worry,
man.
the main
He sounds
episode
so
will come
dumb
out this
sometimes.
week. But everybody, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Comedians of Wrestling. Bonus episodes. AEW NXT Friday. AEW NXT centric episodes come out Friday morning, and the Cal Zoom Thunderdome will be during Hell in a Cell on October 25th. So if you're at that tier, and also there's one last Cal Movie Club episode for this season. But we'll have season 3 of the Cal Movie Club next year. But hey, everybody, thanks for listening, and keep watching wrestling. Kisses, cheers up.
Ooh, ooh.